What's good, my people? It's your boy 336 Money, and you are now tuned in to another episode of the 336 Podcast. I'm here today to tell you that I am ahead, not up to date. Yes, that means I am from the future. Your today is just my yesterday. Spoiler alert, ain't shit changed. What's good, my people, man? Hope everybody's doing good. A lot going on this week. I know everybody's been burning up. It's been really hot. You know, that's one of the biggest things this week. So we're not going to talk about how hot it is, because talking about how hot it is just make you hotter, man. A lot to talk about today. Going to be a great episode, man. Make sure you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. All right, man. So I find this hard to believe, but they do say the abortion rate has rose for the first time in 30 years. And yes, I just find that hard to believe, guys. But for some reason, we actually been doing good despite all the arguments and the fight, you know, for abortion and all of these laws. You know, they make these big fights about these things that when you look at, it's been on a decline for 30 years, man. And it's like, yo, we're arguing and doing all these things about this, but it doesn't really matter. It's not even a big issue. And that's where they trick us, guys. But however, abortion did rise for the first time in 30 years. Some of you may have seen that circulating around, but don't be fooled, guys. They don't do these type of numbers and tests every year, it seems like. We're pretty much judging this from 2017 to 2020, those numbers. So in 2017, we had actually hit a 44-year low for abortion, and now it's rose 7% since then. And we are getting those numbers from 2020. It said that now abortions, 1 out of every 5 pregnancies ends that way. And I do think that that's unfortunate, honestly. 1 in 5 sounds big. You know, it's about 18 literal percentage points of all abortions, but about 1 million abortions happened in 2020. And, you know, that's 1 million people that, man, y'all could have killed my son's wife doing that, man. That's crazy. Like, my son, you know, you could have killed the love of his life doing that, man. But we won't get into that. But, you know, also we look at these numbers and we're seeing that the birth rate or the fertility rate, which we talked about on this show, guys, is also down 6%. So while you have abortion increasing, you have birth rate, period, decreasing. So you have both of these factors, you know, threatening humanity. This is the biggest threat to humanity. And that's what makes the issue a little bit bigger in my eyes. But it's not like the main thing affecting it, right? You know, people just aren't getting pregnant anymore. And when they do, 1 time out of 5, they may not keep the child. And, you know, that's what happens now. I don't think this accounts for miscarriages and things like that. So, you know, you factor that in. A lot of pregnancies are ending up in the wrong, you know, direction. But they're said to say that, you know, now within those times, you have what's recently become a big thing is the Roe v. Wade opinion, which threatens to overturn the original ruling on Roe v. Wade. And that's something that can also cause a spark or a spike in abortion numbers. We won't get those numbers for quite some time, but we can tell you one thing. They are going to rise, and they're rising right now like bread in the oven. And, you know, these type of changes are, you know, they're threatening to be made soon. About 26 states right now we're looking at probably likely to 100% sure that they're going to ban abortion. So that's half of the country looking to already do that. Half of those states even having trigger laws set in place so that as soon as they do overturn this Supreme Court ruling, that they will immediately go into effect. Won't be any further legislation needed for this abortion and the banning of it. So, yeah, a lot of things going on with that. But, yeah, abortion rate is rising, guys. So, wrap it up. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was quite some time ago, but it was last year where this meme had just took over social media, and it was about a guy named Jay-Z, man. You know, some people say he's the GOAT. You know, he's definitely top 5 in everyone's top 5. They should be at least. But they were just talking about how would you rather have dinner with Jay-Z or $500,000, you know, and this just went crazy for some reason. This question sparked a lot of conversation and talk, a lot of funny memes, a lot of good times, man, if you remember it. And it's funny because now it comes full circle where you have $19 million being paid for lunch. Yeah, how does 19 million sound, guys? But It's not with Jay-Z. It's with a guy by the name of Warren Buffett. For those of you who don't know, Warren Buffett is one of the most successful men to ever walk the planet. This guy is one of the richest men in the world as well. At one point, even held the title and the crown of being richest man. His investment strategies and his company, Berkshire Hathaway, is a great big influence on, how he made his money. Multi-billionaire, money mogul, smart, one of the greatest minds in business and economics that we have the pleasure of still being able to communicate with to this day. And yes, $19 million was the price paid to have lunch with Warren Buffett, but it's not in the way that you would think, right? Warren Buffett, he actually does a charity every year that goes to a San Francisco-based charity that's called Glide. And what they do is they focus on homelessness and poverty. And, they do things in that area. That's what their charity's for. That's who they give back to. And this guy paid a whopping $19 million to the charity this year in the competition that was done on eBay. And essentially, he's going to get to have dinner with Warren Buffett, the Warren Buffett, private dinner in a New York steakhouse. He's allowed to bring up to 7 guests. But yeah, I find it interesting, right? He could have kept that 19 million or at least 18 of it, or maybe, 18 and a half. He didn't have to go crazy, did he? But, a lot of these people believe in the Glide Foundation, so it's really nothing. They like that. And this is also Warren Buffett's final time doing the dinner. The 91-year-old said, "This will be it, guys. This is the last supper." He said he met a lot of great people doing this from all over the world over the years, but this will be it. And this guy's definitely knocking it out the park with this $19 million donation, 3 times as much as the highest donation that we've seen. For the last 2 years, they haven't necessarily done this dinner because of COVID and health concerns, but they're back on, and this will be the last time. And $19 million is the price that was paid. You guys got to wonder, if someone's willing to donate that kind of money to get a chance to have dinner with this guy, he must know something, and he must know something very important. He might know more than Jay-Z, man, if they ain't trying to give up $500,000, but they're both billionaires, so I don't know. I have dinner with either one of those guys, to be honest with you. Some opportunities have stemmed from this dinner. A guy donated over $5 million between the years of 2010 and 2011 to this charitable event, and he got dinner with Warren Buffett, and he got a job. And he owns 4 major sectors, including Berkshire itself, within his company, and he manages those portfolios. So, yeah, it can come, a lot of opportunity can come and loom from these type of dinners. And I'm sure that's part of the reason these guys donate the money to this charity and participate in this particular event. But it's crazy. $19 million, that's a very, very, very expensive piece of steak. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and apologize to everyone now. I'm sorry that this is news, but I have to talk about it because this is just, everything that happens with this man is irony. And it's just funny, it seems like, man. Joe Biden, my boy, Joe Bivy, you know what I'm saying? He actually was caught this past weekend falling off of a bike. And this seems to just be the slowest fall that you're going to see. If you guys haven't seen the video, go look at the video. As I first seen reported by Rap TV. He was pulling up, he was up in Delaware. He has a beach house there. Delaware is a very nice place, by the way. Delaware Beach, very great, very nice atmosphere. But he was pulling up on his bike, and some supporters were there. And, this is coming right on the hinges of him receiving the worst disapproval rating. And, his disapproval rating at an all-time high right now since the start of his campaign. He runs in off this bike ride near his beach house, and he see all these supporters just cheering and shouting for Joe. And, after something traumatic like that and some negative news like that, you see these people here to support, you get happy, you get excited, you let your guard down, you get a little enthusiastic, your swag come back on, man. Joe cool, baby, Joe smooth. He turned back in to the guy that we know he can be, the charismatic, charming Joe Biden that, put in all these laws to send black men to jail back in the 90s that we just seem to forget about. Joe cool, Joe smooth. He pulled up, he got too happy, and yes, while trying to get off the bike, smooth as a criminal, he caught his foot in the pedal and he fell. And, it was just, I guess it wasn't really too funny. It was just funny because he was okay. But, Joe, he up there. You know what I'm saying? He gets a senior citizen discount at every restaurant in America. So that means that he's been here for a while. And those falls sometimes can take a hefty toll once you get to that age group. So it could have been dangerous. Those Secret Service guys, they were there to protect him, though. Of course, everybody rushed to try to help the president, but Secret Service don't play that. They could have tried to poke the president with a Corona Q-tip or something like that, man. And, they say, back up. We got the president. Mr. President, are you okay? And he was okay. He got up. No medical attention is needed, says a source from the White House. And he was able to just be there, conversate with those people, shake hands, take pictures, et cetera, with no mask. Yes, no mask. The president is out here, fraternizing with his supporters with no mask. I don't look at that as being a bad thing. But yeah, guys, the pandemic is over. Or if you watch my episodes, is it? All right, guys, we got to talk about this as well. As you guys know, today's podcast is on Juneteenth. So, it's a big deal, right? Let's just talk about Juneteenth. A lot of people may not know what it is or understand it. Where did it come from? Seems like the last couple of years, it's just been a big thing. And I can tell you why, guys. Let's talk in Juneteenth. As a black person myself, this is considered the Black, Freedom Day, the Jubilee. This is considered the second. I think I seen in this news article, someone actually said America has 2 Independence Days. And, it's wild, but, I guess it is what it is. Just the reality we live in sometimes. But it's just crazy to see how people talk. But this is considered the Black independence. And I've been worried about it ever since it's been so big. So I took some time to do some research. Juneteenth, are short for June 19th. It was created in 1865. This was established when the troops pulled up, about 2,000 troops pulled up to Galveston, Texas, and they told the slaves that, hey, y'all niggas free. And, they was free. This was coming on the hinges of the Civil War during that time period. In 1865, he told them that they were free. And this was all due to 2 years prior, President Lincoln was signing the actual Emancipation Proclamation. Now, you say 2 years. So it was 2 years that these folks was technically free. But they were not actually free. Slavery was considered to be abolished and took out, but these guys were still holding on to their slaves and not letting them go until, military presence or some type of law enforcement came to force them to actually free their slaves, because ultimately these guys didn't want to change based off this law. This was in the middle of a civil war. So yes, these guys were celebrating Juneteenth based off a 2-year delay of some news that an Emancipation Proclamation had been set in place, and we supposed to be free. We are supposed to be free, massa. And massa did not go for it. A lot of people were still in slavery long after that was put into place. It wasn't actually until 2 years later, in December 6th of 1865, where the 13th Amendment was put in place, and that actually really abolished slavery, January 1st, 1863, that's when the actual Emancipation Proclamation was put in place. Almost 2-3 years later, we actually ended slavery. And 2 years later, Juneteenth was created and celebrated. And, this is just something that was big. The President Biden, the guy who fell off his bike, he was the reason that now this type of holiday is federally noticed. And, you have things like the stock market being closed on Monday. Also, federal employees will get the day off, and it will be a paid holiday. This is now the 12th federal holiday, and this is considered the second Black holiday added since Martin Luther King Day was added back in the late 1900s. But, it's wow, guys. We are considered to be free. And it really takes 165 years for American lawmakers to say, you know what? This is an Independence Day. This day is considered Independence Day, and we should celebrate this, and we should make this a holiday. And even when you do all of those things, the date is still considered wrong. Now, I don't blame the people of Galveston, Texas. That's the day that they found out. In Galveston, Texas, about 250,000 Black people were set free at that moment. So this was a big, big deal these guys were happy and excited, and this, of course, would be a day that they would celebrate. But technically, we were freed 2 years before, and even technically, we weren't really freed by the 13th Amendment until 6 months after that. So it kind of feels a little crazy, and I don't like the idea of a white man and a bunch of white lawmakers telling black people when they can celebrate their independence. I'm just not too fond of that. I feel like, if we want to make this day something big, maybe that's cool because, we should be celebrating ourselves, beyond February and Black History Month. We should be celebrating something great. But I still doesn't feel like we're free in 2022, guys. So I don't really know how to feel about this. If we want to band together, I like the idea, but I feel like it needs to be made on black people's terms. We need to find out what we're really celebrating, what it really means, or what are we really even doing? Just a bunch of white lawmakers saying, okay, let's give these niggas a day outside of February. I don't really rock with that, man. But this is something that a lot of people have taken hold to. At least it is something that make black people celebrate being black and be happy. And hopefully we can all come together around the world as black people on this day and have a cookout without somebody trying to shoot somebody. Comment what you think and your thoughts about Juneteenth. And let me know what y'all feel. Is what I'm saying valid? I feel like I'm saying something valid, y'all. I feel like I'm saying something valid. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have time for today on the show. Again, make sure you like this page. Subscribe to this page, turn on post notifications. This is a brand new page. Like this video as well. Comment what you think. We definitely want to conversate with you guys. We're all intellectuals. Follow us on Instagram at the 336 Podcast. We just did it, man. It's your boy 336. You just watched another episode or another segment of the 336 Podcast. And y'all stay safe. But most of all, stay sucker free out there, man. Zoom.